Now there are many important characters in the Super Mario series. Think of Peach, Bowser and Luigi, all of which have a vital role and are seen quite a lot. However, there is also one character that might have an even more important role in the game's story, Toadsworth. A toad that's rarely seen in the series, but might be connected to the royalty of the Mushroom Kingdom. So let's find out how he evolved in terms of use, design, story, and gameplay. Now, Toadsworth is an elderly toad and Princess Peach's longtime steward, introduced in Super Mario Sunshine. He is 60 years old according to an email in Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, and is constantly worrying about the princess and takes care of the toads. In his first appearance, he accompanies Mario, Princess Peach, and an entourage of toads to Isle Delfino for a vacation. When traveling there, he is daydreaming about the relaxation that he can get at the island, as well as about the roller coaster at Pinna Park, completely ignoring all the warning signs of an evil Mario being on the island, which Peach does notice. After this, the events of Super Mario Sunshine happen, where Mario is forced to clean the whole island and clear his name. Now while doing so, Toadsworth can be seen simply accompanying the princess, and after she's kidnapped, he can be found fretting and worrying in various locations. And that's all he does in the entire game, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not lying. Even though he seems important, he does nothing here. He truly has no purpose in this game. He's just part of the party to fill in the empty spots on the plane. That's it. So, since that seems to be his original role in the game, what would be next for him in the main series titles? Well, not a whole lot to be very honest. But we did at least see him in one more game, New Super Mario Bros. Here, Toadsworth replaces any normal Toad as the host of the Toad Houses, which is a weird role, but at least a significant one. We do see him a lot thanks to this, although we don't learn anything new about him. To be honest, if you replaced him with anyone else, nothing would change, to be honest. Now he gives out items to Mario and Luigi by conjuring up a roulette block with his wand, which means he can perform magic, and that's new, although it wouldn't mean a whole lot in the long run, since he, never really uses it again. Now some of the Toad Houses also give out extra lives to the Mario Bros by having them play a kart matchup game, but most of these houses require you to pay 5-star coins in order to enter. Now clearly Nintendo did want to give him a spot in the game, a role where he sort of helps you, but they wouldn't have to come up with anything original for him, which shows that Nintendo didn't really care about him a lot, and was also being quite lazy during development. There are even examples of this in the released game, because multiple models of Toadsworth can be seen running around in the opening when a thundercloud strikes Peach's castle, giving the illusion that there are tons of Toads running around, which isn't really the case, because it's just the same character copied over and over and over. So you can quite clearly see here that Nintendo was being a bit lazy, even though this game sold incredibly well. But apparently Nintendo didn't want to put effort in some things. Toadsworth was even given the smallest role possible, even though they could have done something more interesting, because his relationship with Peach is quite strange, to say the least, because there's a ton of confusion surrounding Peach and Toadsworth's relationship, which is partially Nintendo's fault. It is said on Nintendo.com's page for Super Mario Sunshine that he is Peach's father, which would make him the Mushroom King, but it has also been stated in games and game booklets that Toadsworth is Peach's companion, and is thus a subordinate of her. Additionally, in Mario Superstar Baseball, when naming all of the players on Peach's team, Lakitu says, "And your grandpa? Oh, pardon me, Venerable Toadsworth." While not made entirely clear, Lakitu must have at first been mistaken, but then corrected himself, while Peach also addresses him as Toadsworth in Super Mario Sunshine, and not Granddad or Dad. So all of this is extremely vague, to say the very least. Regardless of his position, he cares deeply for the princess very much in a fatherly manner, and has taken care of her since she was a baby. So it's kinda similar to Kamek and Bowser's relationship. However, they could have actually done something with this in a serious way. I mean, Kamek is used way more in the games after all, and has a similar role in a way. Even aside from the boss fights, he is seen more in one game than Toadsworth ever was in the main series titles. So all of this is wasted potential, to be honest. They could have done so much more with him, but no, they just didn't. However, there's one spin-off series where they actually did use him in fascinating ways. The Mario & Luigi and Paper Mario games. All of this started in Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. Here he makes a brief appearance in the beginning of the game, where he presents a suitcase to take on their journey to the Bean Bean Kingdom, and helps them later on in their adventure as well, like providing a spare dress for Peach who was kidnapped, and being seen at the very important Mushroom Embassy. This clearly shows that he has an important role in running the country together with Princess Peach, which we don't see in the main series titles. There, he was just some sort of companion, or someone who helps out Mario when he reaches one of the Toad houses. So in these titles, they kind of stepped up their game, which we would only see more of in future titles in the series and others, because he also appears in Partners in Time, playing a larger role in this game than in its predecessor. He's with the gang taking an experimental trip back in time, and is paranoid that something terrible might happen. He even eventually faints from shroom shock due to his excess worrying for the princess, creating a bit of a comedic scene in the game. His fears become justified later on though, as when the time machine returns, a junior Shrewboyd is in it as well, who's part of the evil faction seen in the game. This already kinda shows what his role is in this title, putting him in the center of it, as well as one that provides comedic relief, even playing a big role in the beginning of the story, being more important than he ever was in Super Mario Sunshine. He's indirectly even responsible for sending Mario and Luigi into the past from the start, so he had a big impact, no matter what you think. And later on in the game, he teams up with his younger self to teach the Mario Bros new moves, such as the Toadsworth Twist, Bros Ball, and more. So Toadsworth was taken seriously, which is really good because both his character, story, and role in the game started to grow in these spin-off games, which does make sense to an extent since these games have a heavy focus on story, which gives side characters more of a role in the game. They had the time and space to develop characters. For example, there wouldn't be any other series where they could show off a younger Toadsworth, because it wouldn't really fit in the game. Super Mario titles have a heavy focus on gameplay, while the RPG games need story and setting as a backbone. Now he returns in Bowser's Inside Story, and here, along with the other Mushroom Kingdom residents, he eventually gets swallowed up by Bowser. He's then found in the pump works of Bowser's body, where he must be rescued. Now compared to the last game, his role is very small, and only teaches the Mario Bros about beans and being seen here and there. That's it. So, by the looks of it, his golden hour was fading, being seen less and less in one of the franchises that gave him a ton of attention before. We aren't sure why, but by the looks of it, Nintendo didn't feel like putting him in the games anymore, for some reason. And in the next game, it was completely over, to be honest, because his role was almost non-existent. Here he and the gang got an invite to Pilo Island? Pilo Island? I don't know. They were there for sightseeing, and his role was even smaller than in the previous game, being mainly used for comedic relief. A bit like the old days, to be honest. However, this time he didn't really have a role in the game's story, which makes him a bit irrelevant and useless. So what about the Paper Mario games? Well, he did get a role in this RPG series, but only in one game. In the Thousand-Year Door, he accompanies Princess Peach on her trip to Rogueport, keeping the princess close to him, but he ends up losing her. When Mario comes to Rogueport, he meets a frantic Toadsworth, who is incredibly worried about the missing princess. Mario assures Toadsworth that he's going to save her, and he then spends the remainder of the game in Rogueport's inn. Again, he has a tiny role, and in my opinion, it's just as important as the one in Super Mario Sunshine. He basically does the same after all. Join Princess Peach in the beginning of her journey, worry about her the whole time, then lose her, and continue to worry until we calm him down. That's it. So while he was seen in one of the most beloved Paper Mario games, his role was rather pointless, and he could easily be removed from the game without affecting anything, to be honest. So clearly he was used a lot in the RPG spin-off games. But as time went on, his role got smaller and smaller, until it was almost completely gone. Now, with this era of his life being over, was he seen in any other games in a significant way? Well, not really, to be honest. Sure, he was still seen in some other spin-off titles like the Mario Kart and party games, but he didn't really do anything with them. So it's clear that his journey in the Mario franchise was kind of over. Even in the more recent titles like Super Mario Odyssey or New Super Mario Bros. U, he wasn't seen at all. He has actually been missing from the games for years. And this goes for the spin-off games as well. which clearly shows that Nintendo was only interested in him for a very short amount of time. After that, they were kind of done with this weird little Toad, which is a bit of a shame. They should have given him a bigger role in the RPG games. That's a great fit for him, but maybe they will do so in the future. And until that happens, we will have to miss him.